Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the EMU review. Guess who? It is I, Jason Heine, sitting in here with you like a good neighbor. I'm like the good neighbor that has your house key. When you're out of town, I head on over there, watch the dog, kick it on the couch, raid the fridge, all that good stuff. And when you return home, all the Kool-Aid and fruit snacks are missing. But hey, you got your house taken care of, so just be thankful I didn't hit the freezer. So, anyway, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. It's great to be back, and I want to thank each and every one of you. You've been so wonderful to me with your comments and your emails and everything. You've been just so wonderful. Thanks again. I love being here. I love hanging out with you guys. You guys love hanging out with me, so let's continue on. Okay, so I'm assuming most of you have heard of the game Pac-Man. Because if you haven't, you know where to go. And you know what they'll say. But don't worry, because today I'm not talking about Pac-Man, but I am talking about a character that has elements of Pac-Man in him. I mean, I wasn't around, I can't say for sure. But in 1992, when Nintendo was trying to come up with a cute, cuddly, lovable character for their newest platformer, I can almost guarantee you they were having dinner with the Pac family, if you know what I mean. But no matter how he was created, in 1993, HAL Laboratory brought a game that revolutionized the way that we play platformers, with a little gem called Kirby's Adventure. This game was released November 30th, 1992 in Japan, May 1st, 93 in North America, and December 1st, 1993 in Europe. Now, although this may have been the first Kirby game that most people played back in the day, this isn't the first Kirby game to exist. Kirby made his debut on the Game Boy with a title called Kirby's Dream Land, which is a fantastic game. It's very similar to this, just minus the color and all that. But this was the first time we saw Kirby on a console, also introduced such characters as Meta Knight and King DDD. So there's definitely some firsts there for the Nintendo franchise. Now take note of its release date, 1993. Well, that's 2 years into the Super Nintendo's life. Now you know how this goes, the evolution of gaming. The console's been alive for X amount of time, the developers figure out how to squeeze every last little bit out of the console's hardware, maximize the gameplay, graphics, sound, all that, and they really nailed it with Kirby. Because at the time, developers were developing games for the Super Nintendo. They weren't really touching the NES anymore. I talked earlier about that with the RC Pro-Am franchise. I'm not really sure how to look at that. Just before the console dies, the good games come out. Go figure. Okay, so I want to talk about the plot just a little bit, because if you're like me, when I first played this game, all I thought was, wow, this is an amazing game. I love it. I didn't really care about the plot, nor the story, any of that. And I didn't even know about it until I looked it up. Okay, so here it is, EMU review style. All right, so we got Kirby. He's tripping out because he's sleeping at night and he can't dream anything. There's a special place in his world called the Fountain of Dreams, and there's this star rod that is there that allows everyone to dream. Well, as you can imagine, it's gone. But not only is it gone, he has found that it has been destroyed and broken to 7 different pieces, spread out through 7 different lands, and in every land there's a boss. Well, you can assume that the bosses each possess one part of that star rod. So our cute, cuddly little pink fluff ball has to travel to each one of these lands, defeat the boss, collect the star rod, and regain dreams. And that, my friends, is the cure to insomnia. Alright, so now that you got the WebMD on Kirby, I want to talk a little bit about him specifically. He's a pretty cool dude. He has a lot of really cool abilities that were new to all of us at the time. Yeah, run, jump, yeah, we all know that. And if you were into the SNES at the time, playing Mario World, and you were familiar with Yoshi and how he can eat everything, well, I don't know, was this kind of a sign of the times, I guess, because Kirby has the same ability. What's cool about Kirby specifically is he can inhale his enemies, then take their powers,
take one,
and use them. You know how Yoshi just eats the enemy and SBDs out an egg? Yeah, not with Kirby. He's all over it. He's like, yeah, whatever you got to attack me with, I'm gonna use it and attack you back with it, punk. But not only that, he's light as a feather. He's so light, in fact, all he has to do is inhale a breath of air, and he becomes airborne. And he's flying around all over the place. Now, this was incredible, because I had never played a game that I could just fly around and dodge my enemies. You always had to encounter them, or attack them, or engage them. And here you could just fly right by him. It was pretty sweet. What a fantastic concept that was. And Kirby, he's awesome. He's kind of like the jack of all trades. I mean, there isn't anything he can't really do, He can inhale his enemies, take their powers, he can shoot them back out. I mean, he's just great. When you look at him, you're like, he's just this little tiny little pink blob. What kind of fun can he do? He's actually very, very powerful, and he'll whoop your ass, and he'll look cute and cuddly while doing it. Make your mom say, wow, he's so cute. Another cool feature with Kirby is that when you inhale an enemy, if you don't want that ability, you can hit select and he'll just discard it. It's a feature I actually didn't know about for quite some time, and when I found it, it was great. So you progress through the levels. They're part puzzle and all action, baby. And then when you get done with the levels, another cool thing that this game has, it has little mini games like crane, quick shoot. It has an egg catcher game. I can't think of all of them right now, but there's quite a few of them. They sure are fun. Just a little side note on the levels too. The level design's incredible. I just love all the varieties of levels. Every world is so different. You have desert, you have greenery, you have ocean and water. There's just a huge variety of level design in this game, and it really breaks it up. While playing through it, the motions are obviously the same, but the level design is so creative that it doesn't get boring at all. You can just play straight through it. It's a blast the entire time. I don't get bored with it at all. And after talking about level design, how about graphics? As I mentioned before, by this time in the Nintendo's life, they really figured out how to squeeze every last ounce out of the hardware on this thing. The game looks incredible. It features great explosions and visual effects. Some of the levels you can see have incredible 3D backgrounds and backdrops, and the color palettes just look great. They're real easy on the eyes. And to cram all that stuff into this game, this was one of the largest games released. Now, I don't mean large like reception and all that. I mean data size. This was a 6 megabit cartridge, so that does rank up there in data size. Another thing I want to mention is the music. It's just so good in the game. Everything is memorable. Depending on what you're doing in the game too, the music will change. The boss battle music is very intense. Some of the world maps are nice and easy and polite. Some are more aggressive. It's really moody, and I really enjoy it. Would have to say, the music really does shine in this game. So all the way around, when this game was released, it got great reviews and rave ratings all the way around. In 1993, IGN rated it 9.5 out of 10, and EGM rated it as the best NES game of 1993. Kablow to your face! But now it's time for me to throw down my 2 cents. Now listen, I love this game. Absolutely love playing it. I love going through it. This is one of those weekend hitter deals for me. I'll just sit down and just blaze through it. And I don't have a lot of negative things to say about it. There are just only 2 things that really stand out to me. The rest really are nonchalant. The first thing that kind of bothers me is that it isn't 2-player. You know, now, don't start with the hate mail. Not that every game needs to be 2-player. And I know what you're thinking too, especially a platformer. And I agree with you. Platformers really aren't intended to be multiplayer. So that's okay. Not really a big deal. Would like to see it somehow implemented. You know, I got these guys on a high pedestal. I got them up to these really high standards here. So that problem is kind of like a to me. But the biggest problem I have is that the frame rate drops dramatically when using some of these weapons, some of these abilities, and when so many characters are on the screen. It really bogs down. I'm serious. It drops to like a couple, 2 to 5. It's ridiculous. Like the spark is the worst. You use that spark weapon with like multiple enemies on the screen, it just drops. And it just really gets annoying. It just drags throughout because you really notice it. And that just really bothers me. You know, and I want a solid frame rate on my games. And in some cases, you know, sometimes that could be an advantage. It gives you more time to think about what's going on. When that frame rate drops, you got another second or two to think about, okay, well, that guy's coming in. That guy's coming in. I'm going to use my spark some more. Go pay my electricity bill. You know how we do. So other than those 2 things, I have no problems with this game. It's a great game to play. I absolutely love it. I recommend everyone check it out if you haven't already. eBay's got it between $10 to $15 shipped to your door. That's a hell of a deal. Now, don't get me wrong, there are a ton of good platformer games for the Nintendo, but I have to say, this game probably goes down as one of the best. I think we all would agree. So, the EMU review grade for Kirby's Adventure.
This game gets an A-.
And next time you're in Build-A-Bear, stop and take a look around. Chief Kirby would take all them bears out in one swoop. Whoopsh. What now, bears?